back to the Talking Parra podcast. This is the visual version, and you can also catch the audio version on Apple and Spotify and any other quality podcast platform. This is season 2, episode 2, and it is the start of the NRL 2023 season. Now, we've got someone missing today. He is jet setting off to the USA. Don't know if I was supposed to say that or not, but anyway. So Hayden from the Entertain House, we're thinking of you, mate. Enjoy your trip. But we'll hold down the fort here. We'll go all right, so don't worry about that. But who we do have is Maddie Tate from Maddie Tatey Sports TV. A new channel, I believe, Maddie, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so subscribe to that one. And you got myself, Troy, from the Parra Cave podcast. And you also have Mr. Adam Martin. And Adam, where are you from, mate?
Just from Maitland, mate. It's the boy from Maitland.
Well, you're the host of the Talking Parra podcast. So over to you now for episode 2.
Yeah, I've got my hand in a few different pies, so we'll go with that one. But anyway, we'll work that out later. Well, as you said, it's going to get really confusing, first of all, because we're on episode 2 and we're on round 1. So, first of all, we're screwed up there. All last year, all we did was question,
what episode is it?
So, let's call this episode 1, and we'll call last week's episode 0, okay?
I'm pretty sure I've put it as round 1, 2023, so...
Even that gets confusing. But I'll tell you one thing is exciting. Today was the day. Today was the first Teamless Tuesday of the year.
How good.
Like Christmas.
TLT. And honestly, it's up there. Christmas, Easter, birthday, Melbourne Cup Day, Everest Day. It's up there with them. They're all very important events. But obviously a Teamless Tuesday, and we'll get into the Teamless bit later. Obviously last week, going to be a bit of a shorter show this week anyway, because last week we went through, obviously, last season, our predictions for the year. So we haven't got a lot to talk about because there was no footy last week. I don't really know where we're going to start besides obviously there's a game on Thursday night. At CommBank Stadium.
We do have the ongoing Mitchell Moses contract saga.
Here we go.
We do. Let's talk
about it. What's your thoughts on that one, boys?
I've been told it's all about done deal. Obviously, I'm expecting an announcement, but isn't there still a 10-day cooling off period? Is there a 10-day cooling off period of contracts or not? Because
the player can choose not to. They can forfeit the 10-day cooling off period if they choose to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think there'll be an announcement at the game. It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
We know he's not going to leave. Look, my brother nailed this one today in his TLT traditional post and said, a bloke doesn't miss the birth of his child for a football team and then leave. He obviously feels pretty passionate about being at Parramatta and playing with his mates. So we know he's going to stay. It's just a matter of when. To me, it's a done deal. So I don't know why our club takes the piss on these kind of things.
I don't think it's the club taking the piss on it. I think it's the club sort of holding the media at bay.
That's the thing. It gives the media the satisfaction of leaking it. And that's what frustrates me. Like,
not the satisfaction of leaking it, but they're only rumorising and putting the rumours out there that he's going to sign with Parramatta. But at the end of the day, it's going to be announced by him. Or as you said,
on the big screen
on game day.
A
big 5-minute video or something that's probably already pre-recorded.
We've already worked out what it is as soon as it starts. So. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like I said, to me, it should just be done. It should be announced. Concentrate on the game. The fans are there for a game against what's obviously becoming one of our arch rivals, or it is one of our arch rivals in Melbourne. We go off the last 15 years of history with them. So we know my thoughts. We know how much I hate Melbourne. But let's just get on the game. Let's get on to that first of all. Melbourne. What is it, 20 years or 19 years or something that haven't lost a round one game?
20
under Bellamy.
28, 21.
Under Bellamy, they've never lost around one game.
I think.
Well, the Brock Lesnar called Parramatta Eels as coming to break the streak because I think this is the best chance we've got. I know they usually start, obviously, like it goes a bit 50-50. They've obviously got 50 chances to start their season at home. But I look through their team list, and we'll go through our team list soon, and that is one of the weakest forward packs I have ever seen in a Melbourne Storm team. We know they lost half their forward pack to the Dolphins. Shame they didn't lose their back line as well, because then Melbourne would be fighting it this spoon. But I obviously think we've got a very good chance, and I can't believe that we are paying $2.15. We're coming from about $2.60.
I've actually I've taken the Eels handicap odds at, I think we were plus 1.5 start at like $1.90. So I've put a cheeky on that and us at $2 something. So
yeah, it's a hard one.
Crazy.
I just don't get it. Like, you got a team that comes second. It's going to be. I've looked through the tickets and that it's going to be like a pretty. I'm not going to say it's going to be a full house because it's a Thursday night. Obviously, we know what the crowds are like, but you think there'd be 22,000 plus there on Thursday night. And obviously, Melbourne don't really contribute much to the fan side of things. And the idiot Queenslanders that follow them. But shout out to our Queensland listeners. But to me, I feel Parramatta should be disrespected. Like, they should feel disrespected. Mostly the new players coming into the team, like Josh Hodgson and our second rowers and stuff. They're basing it off us losing one player. And obviously Melbourne's good record, but to say, look, you aren't as good a team as last year because you've lost this player. And that's a massive slap in the face to someone like Josh Hodgson, who's pretty much gone close to doing it all in the game. He's played a lot more rep footy and stuff than what Reid Moroney has. So, and we know my thoughts on obviously that loss. I don't think it is a massive one. So he's one bloke I expect to come out really fired up on Thursday night in front of a big Parramatta crowd, and obviously being first game. I just hope he doesn't try to overplay. That's my biggest thing. So,
look, I think as you said, it is a bit disrespectful, but I think it's probably a good thing too. Just staying under the radar, so to speak, and just not worrying about what anybody else says, just worrying about your own backyard and getting out there on Thursday and doing the job.
It makes me think back to 2010, actually. So we obviously come off that run in 2009 where we lost another grand final to the Cheats, who we happen to be playing this week. Remember 2010? You look at Parramatta's member base now. I had a look today. It's up around I bought a toddler membership for Lucas, and it's about 34,500 or something. So we'll break records again this year, I think, as we just keep doing every year. Back then, I think the member base was around that 15, 13. It was pretty low compared to what it is now. They've done a great job there. But remember that Parramatta Brisbane game on a Friday night being sold out weeks in advance. There's a real anticipation about what the fairy tale team and the entertainers of 2009 could do going into 2010. And it was the most boring batshit game of rugby league I have ever seen. I think it was 16-8 or something like that, or 16-10. We got beat by Brisbane. I can't say exact score. That was pretty low scoring. I think we scored 1 or 2 tries and couldn't convert or whatever. And it was just boring. And the anticipation, it set the tone for the year. So you're probably right, Troy. No anticipation, no pressure on us. We can come out and just play footy. What we saw from the trials, I think we're going to be a better attacking football team. We cut Melbourne to pieces when we played them there in that last round of, obviously, the last round of the year last year. And it pretty much ended their season because, like they'd done to us before, they couldn't back it up the week after being humiliated and smashed, because that's what we did to them. It was a big game. There was anticipation around. We got over top of them. So they may want revenge on us based on that. No one's writing off Melbourne. It's funny that. Even with Olam and Pappenhausen, and I'll just go and say it, and I could eat my words here, but a reserve grade like second row and lock, because that's what it is. Some blokes from clubs that couldn't get football time, like, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's blokes there. Compared to what we're used to from Melbourne, we're used to
definitely.
Front rowers and stuff. Nelson, you're still a big cat, and if you're listening, I'm still going to take you on Monday. I don't know when, but I'll call you out.
Charity football game? Boxing match?
Whenever.
Charity boxing? Or?
Oh, I can't box. Can't fight same way.
We'll have to find a sponsor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll take him in something, but I call him out every time we play Melbourne, so I thought I'd better get that in. He hasn't done anything yet, but it's in anticipation of him doing something. So,
Well, it just
Nelson-
shows you he's not listening to the show, is he? Or
he's not listening to me. He must be scared. Like, he'd be scared if he was listening. But look, if he turns around, I'm just going to move this down because my light's terrible. But if Nelson does do something, I've already had a crack at him, so I won't get as much of a crack. If Nelson does two things, I owe him one. But the odds are that Nelson will not go through the game without doing something stupid. Let's be honest. At least we don't have Kafusi there to drop elbows on people's heads as well. So I really hate Melbourne. I've been so excited.
Are they your arch rival team?
No, I fucking
Melbourne
hate Newcastle
at the
just as much.
I know you hate Newcastle, but in
do you
terms
hate
of
Newcastle because you live there, or do you hate them because of?
No, I hate them because 98% of their fans are flogs. I'm
shout out to the Newcastle fans that just happen to be listening to our show.
Oh, I don't know.
But
the one Newcastle fan that couldn't get Panthers tickets and thought it was unfair that he couldn't get Panthers tickets because Parra had 24-hour jump. Yeah, that got the news last year.
Yeah, I do remember that, and I did not feel sorry for that bloke. But look, what I'll say is, I hate Melbourne because it's a rivalry. Newcastle, I'd love to see the rivalry back, and I said this to you guys as well. Like the Bulldogs rivalry, it's died. Like, look at the crowds we still get for Bulldogs match. Like, they bring that back. I want the Bulldogs to go well this year. I don't want them to beat us, but I want them to be in a good position when we play them, that we take them on and we get big crowds, and it actually feels like a rivalry. They turn up for us every time they play us anyway. But Newcastle, growing up here, it's more than just their fans. It's what they've done to local juniors and the amount of local juniors they've missed and stuff. But Melbourne, it's just the cheating and the heartache. Like I said, I said it last week, I'll say it again. Going to Melbourne last year, I'm knocking him off. I cried after the game because it'd been so long coming. That's how much I hate them. It's funny because I've got some good mates in the Melbourne supporters, and they're actually good blokes. I've got some good mates that are Knights fans as well. But for me, Newcastle fans, like, I'll give you an example. The trial game against Newcastle. They're blaming the referee in the trial game. Now, they got every 50.
Yeah, but that's just footy fans, but in
rugby
league games.
They just can't see stuff. Like it was the referee's fault and Kalen Ponga's fault. Like, I agree Kalen Ponga is a terrible move to 5'8". Defensively, he's going to suck, but he's had one game there. One trial game. Yeah. I'll give him a chance. It takes, like we saw at Parramatta try and do it with Hayne. It didn't work. Lockie has obviously done it. There's been lots of people that have done it over the years, but you've got to give him a chance there. And I have no doubt if Kalen Ponga came to Parramatta and played 5'8", right, he'd be a superstar because he's got a team around him. He doesn't have much around him at Newcastle. I looked through their team and it's also pretty average. But we went through our...
So, Matty, who is your rival team that you hate losing against?
Penrith. 100%. Living in Penrith, just the way they've been the last couple years, where they hate, like, if they lose, they literally, it's the end of the world, and they've got so arrogant that they've won so much they've forgotten how to lose and how to be humble, and I just hope they literally don't make the 8. I would literally put $100 on them to get the wooden spoon. Like, I hate them that much.
See, I don't have that problem with the Knights because they're not going to make the 8.
Yeah, well, I literally, like, I get along with the players, don't get me wrong, and stuff, and they're always good to the fans and stuff, but just the way that they've been the last couple years, where before games, you're not allowed to talk to them, they come in, security through the middle, they put barricades up, they can't interact with their fans, they shut the gate and put the bus inside, and they just have no fan interaction before and after a game. They might go around and sign autographs on the field and that, but they don't. After the game, you pretty much get kicked out on the footpath. Even the players' wives and stuff get kicked out on the footpath, like, to wait for players. So they get on a bus, they go around the back of Panthers to their training facility and jump in their cars and go home. Sometimes they'll go to the club and have like a after match function with fans, but they don't if you're at the game, you don't really get to talk to them or see them or get selfies or anything with them. So I think that's what's disappointed me over the years. Like, Penrith used to be my second team. I used to have like a season ticket when I was younger because my cousins all were living in Penrith. Like when Parra wasn't playing, I'd be at Penrith games, and I was there after the grand final in 2003, and I had the premier shirt on and like partying with them and stuff. Yeah.
What?
Dad kicked me out the house when I come
I
home.
don't blame him.
I didn't come home. I was at Panthers drinking with the players, and I come home and I had the been there, won that shirt on, and he's like, "What are you doing wearing that crap?" But yeah, just
don't blame him.
Just literally the last couple years, the way their fans have just that. I don't know. It's just I don't. It's 5 minutes down the road, and I don't like going there, even when Parra play in there. Like I just.
It's funny because I'm the same at Newcastle, and you said it could be a local thing, but I go to games and support the opposition team. Doesn't matter who it is, because it's just funny watching them get beat. But I don't like going there because it's just so. I take the young fella there because he loves watching footy and it's convenient, and it's one of the memories I've got. Best memories I got from when I was a young fella going with Pop and Mum, because Dad always refused to go there as well because the same reasons I probably do now. But and you know, Mum and Pop tried to get me to pat the horse, and I was going to try to convert me to a Knights fan. It just never happened. So. I never got it. Troy, are you going to say Penrith as well because they're your closest team?
Well, no, I was a little bit like you. I was probably from about 09. It was Melbourne for a long time, just because they used to have the wood on us. We obviously knew why in 09, but then what they did to us up at Magic Ground that year, and we just never seemed to be able to beat them. But that's sort of turned around now. I agree with Matty. It's probably Penrith now, and probably not.
The smugness? Is it just the smugness?
Oh, it's a little bit of that, but it's also probably not so much the fact that I live in Penrith. That probably has a little bit to do with it, but it's probably the fact that I just want Parramatta to beat whoever is the best in the competition all the time. So those top teams, you want to beat those top teams all the time. So, and then you do create those little rivalries with those top teams. And at the moment, it just so happens to be the Penrith Panthers, because of their comments after the grand final, because they just the way they act after a grand final, that sort of thing. And I get that they've been on the drink all night and stuff like that, but so there is a time and a place like that. I mean, for me, Appy Coruscant, what he said about the Tigers, I mean, I'd be really filthy if I was a Tigers fan and he come out and said that after the grand final. But so back in the day it was Melbourne.
Papali'i. Blink if you're going to the Tigers. They didn't get angry enough for that, and then Appy said what he said.
Look, I think Tigers fans are just happy to have some kind of optimism after what they've been through, and we've been there as well. So,
but really looking forward to this game on Thursday night.
Yeah, back on track. We've got to get back on track.
Just a quick one on the Parra Penrith rivalry. My first ever game of football I was taken to as a young kid was Parra versus Penrith at Penrith. I actually went to a game at Penrith before I went to a game at Parra.
Well, see, I'm older than you guys, so
we didn't know.
I can remember Penrith Stadium didn't have the Eastern Grandstand; it just had the big hill, and on one side. And now where the new stand is on the western side, you used to ride your cardboard boxes down the hill, and that's what the fans used to love doing. But
that was the best at games.
Yeah.
My first game at Parramatta Stadium, I've been to games at Newcastle, been to SFS and all that kind of stuff. I think it was 99. It would have been 99, yeah. And it was Parramatta versus Penrith. Craig Gower kicked the field goal. We lost, I think it was 17-16. I think we discussed this before, but 17-16, 99, something like that. But it's funny how you went your first one, I went my first one. So there you go. All right, let's get on this week.
That's right, Thursday night, Combank Stadium.
Off the season, which is obviously good for us. It shows pretty much the pool crowd we've got with the TV ratings. And you look at that, our first, 4 of our first 5 games are Thursday night games. So
And we've kicked off the season a few times over the last few years as well.
we draw crowds, and obviously, like I said, success comes with drawing crowds. But Parramatta, we know they have one of the biggest supported bases in the country, all around the country. So it's not just people at fans, but I love Thursday night footy. Don't get me wrong. I love being out on a Thursday night, watch the footy. I hate going to Thursday night footy. I absolutely hate it. Living 2 hours away. Look, I work from home. I've got flexibility, but for me, it's just, I don't know, like the vibe just isn't there as much. It's up there with Sunday 6:30, and Monday was terrible as well. So I know the NRL's gone away from, obviously, it's all about having live games and stuff. So they used to do that 2 Friday night game stuff. I hate 6 o'clock on a Friday as well. So obviously bringing extra, where do you fit all the games?
Is there any time slot you do like?
Yeah, I like traditional. I don't know what's wrong with having traditional Friday game kick off at 7:30. While we've got obviously,
like they used to. They used to have one live and then replay the other.
Yeah,
that also go at the same time.
Was replayed, but there's enough channels now that wouldn't be an issue. But someone just buy a motorbike, Troy?
Yeah, that's one of the players.
Yeah, probably.
Egg
in your house.
For me, it's just, you've got obviously the Queensland time difference at the moment because they're so far behind us. Once again, shout out to our Queensland listeners. But you've got the opportunity there to do a 9:30 kickoff, which is only 8:30 up there. Or New Zealand, have a 5:30 game, whatever, over there, or 6 o'clock, still have it over there. There's options around it. I know we're doing the 6 o'clock, but I just...
And then we're gonna bring in a WA team, so that's
Yeah, that's going to throw things off. But even 12 o'clock, you can have a 12 o'clock game on a Sunday in New Zealand. That kicks off here at 2 o'clock and have a 2. We've obviously already got 2, but at 2 o'clock over there, so 12 here, 2, 4, 6, whatever.
Like they used to, the 12 o'clock on a Sunday or whatever.
We've got those options. Obviously, say if they do bring in Perth 10, which I still don't agree with because it's not going to work. It hasn't worked before, it won't work now. I still think the next team, 18th team, needs to be in either New Zealand again, obviously opposite island, or just Wellington itself, or bring back the Bears. It's another Queensland team. I'm going to give Queenslanders a shout out for positive way. They love their footy, and there's obviously lots of places there where they can have their footy. We saw that during the COVID times. Filling stadiums at Mackay and Rockhampton. Like, we've got teams up there, put someone in. That would be my way to go. But anyway, I don't run the NRL.
Will we see you there on Thursday night?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to miss it.
Okay.
But I hate it. I hate that this Thursday I'm going to go. Then the week after I've got to do 6 o'clock Friday, which means I'm leaving here at 3:30, which is fine. At least I'll get home a little bit earlier, maybe. And then Saturday, like the week after, we're going Thursday at Manly, which I won't make because I've got the young fella. Week after that, Thursday at Penrith, Thursday at SFS. It writes off your Friday as well, really. Your Friday morning. So, that's my point of view on
But we're all excited about Thursday night.
We are. We're being negative. We're being really negative. Before we get to the game,
first game of the year.
We are. Yeah, we should be more fired up. But I want to talk about something quickly because I went up to OzTag on the weekend for National Tag. I coached the under-14s team. And let me just say, Penrith and Parramatta, the future's looking bright for both clubs because we were undefeated the first 4 games. Then we come up against a Nepean team and then a Balkan Hills team. Mate, the Nepean team, half the boys would have been my size. Obviously I've got a bit extra muscle because, work out quite a bit. But I'm talking height-wise and, natural build, mate. When they're 2021, they're going to be monsters. That was the Nepean team. The Parramatta team, well, Balkan Hills, there was a Parramatta team as well. I didn't get to see them. But Balkan Hills, they had 15 players. I spoke to the coach after the game after they just beat us 11-2 or something. It's quite a bit in OzTag, and there was no way of stopping it. I rate myself as a pretty high coach. I put every little method in. I played a fullback who showed me in OzTag. I did so many things. Mate, you can't stop natural skill in some of the tries they were scoring and the flick passes and the speed and athleticism. I spoke to their coach after the game. He said, out of our 15 players, he said, 3 of them have played national OzTag. He said, 11 of them are either signed by Parramatta or Penrith. They're in the Parramatta or Penrith junior system. I said, what about the other one? He goes, oh, yeah. he's probably the best rugby league and rugby union player in Australia for his age. He said they've got him at King's Grammar Australian Rugby and having him on a contract. They've signed him at 13 years old Australian Rugby and got him at King's Grammar. How can you compete with that? But I'm not going to go on the negatives of it. I'm going on the positive is if we can keep some of these kids in our junior system, and keep it going, the future looks bright, obviously, out there in West Sydney for all teams involved.
Well, you've seen the junior scores. Like, the last couple of weeks, both SG Ball and Harold Matthews have been killing it. Like,
I think everyone won last week.
Yeah, I think
Even
we
the
won
Tasha
all.
Gale team.
Yeah, so I just hopefully the juniors are well looked after, and I feel like Nathan Brown's actually being the best thing that hit Parramatta. But it still irks me that the person running the Panthers juniors was actually signed by Parramatta, like came from Parramatta to Penrith and had all these players come up, and
I also think Gus has a lot to do with the Penrith junior system.
100%.
So,
And now he's stealing all the Parra juniors for bloody Bulldog.
Yeah, he's doing well. All right, we're gonna go fancy here.
So Thursday night, round 1, Combank Stadium.
Thursday night, round 1, Combank Stadium. I don't know if you're sharing that, Matty. Are you sharing that?
Nothing's come up.
We're going a little bit fancy here, listeners. Listeners can't see it, obviously. The viewers will be able to see.
Can. There we go.
I've got it. Oh, now I'm just sharing me. Hang on.
Oh, jeez.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Wonderful. So that's as fancy as we're going to get for the year, right? We've upgraded. We've worked out there's a share button. All right, so let's go through our team. Obviously, Gutho at fullback, Sivo and Bailey Simonson on the wings, Penasini and Blake in the centres, Brown and Moses in the halves, Campbell Gillard and Junior Paulo, front rowers, Hodson at 9, Matt, who's at number 11?
Bryce Cartwright,
yeah. Matt Dury at number 12. Hopgood making his Parramatta debut at number 13. And the bench is Jaira Momasai. Oh, I'm never going to get that name right. Jack Murchie. I've got an easy one wrong now. Ramu Gregg and Makatisi at Makatoa. Extended bench, Jake Arthur. Look, I'm disappointed this one. I thought he'd make his debut. Clyde Rodwell. Ogden, Rain, and Lumi. So I'll jump back out of that and stop sharing it. We'll have a bit of a discussion around that. Actually, I can't leave it.
Just leave it at the...
I've got to stop sharing now.
I was...
Feels like I'm in the Brady bunch. But obviously that was our team list. To me, obviously I say it's obviously not our full strength team. Not a good position to be in. I know you're going to hate me, Matt, but I would have started Murchie.
100%. That's what I thought they were going to do.
I don't get it. I know desperate times call for desperate measures, but Cardi has never really been an 80-minute second rower or a 60-minute second rower, really. We bring him on for that razzle-dazzle. I hope and I pray to God that he's just been told to tuck the ball and run. But it's defensively where I'm worried. And I have said it. It's obviously a much weaker Melbourne team than what we're used to. Touchwood, they don't come out and beat us, but I think that's our weakness in that team. I really do. And it's where they're going to score their points. The other thing that doesn't make sense to me is if Bailey was good enough to play in the centres in a grand final, why have they changed Wonga and Bailey around for this game? And is Wonga even fit?
I think it was the Sean Russell suspension that threw him off a bit.
I get it.
I think Bailey was going to play centre and Russell was going to be on the wing. But with that, they've had to throw Bailey in and bring Wonga in.
Is it because Wonga's
not fit? I mean, even...
It just doesn't make sense.
He's going to have his arm in some ridiculous... Like, his arm's padded up, going to be padded up like crazy. So
is it because...
Now Meninga?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, is it because Coach Brad Arthur, sponsored by Mount Franklin, is having flashbacks to Melbourne last year and the Bombs had obviously got on top of us there with Wonga? Is that the reason? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. As you said, Bailey quite easily could have played in the centres and Wonga could have come on the wing. Hayes is playing New South Wales Cup. We'll go through that team soon. But I don't get why you'd make that positional change if next week, Sean
He
Russell.
might have named it like that, but they might not play like that.
Well, you're right. You could be right. It could switch. But to me, first of all, I hope Sean Russell doesn't get the chance to come in the team again because after last year, he deserves it. I hope Wonga doesn't come out and score 4 tries and keep Sean out of the team, or Bailey doesn't, because he does deserve it.
We've got Russell as our top try scorers for the year, so hopefully he gets in there.
It is true, but I'm going to get this point while we're talking about Sean Russell, and I'll let everyone else have their say, because I'm on a rant. I'm in a ranting mood tonight, in case you can't tell. Why is our club so stupid? Why did they not say, Sean, you got suspended, name him on the extended bench for the grand final or the prelim final or whatever, and he sits out for suspension, and he's good to go for round 1? Why do we not think about this stuff? Like,
Why didn't we put his suspension for next year?
Yeah, well, apparently that's an option, but
why didn't he play the World Cup when he could have had that?
There's so many options. Like, you're right, there's so many options, and to me, it just makes no sense why we didn't do that. Like, did the club forget he was suspended? They get build up in the excitement of finals football and go, oh, let's not worry about it, because they, New South Wales Cup went out in the first week of the finals, so there was plenty of opportunities. Like, especially, it just doesn't make sense.
It's one game.
I know it's one game, but
it's one game.
He deserves his chance, and it's just frustrating me that we screwed up with the Madison thing, which could have been a massive thing. I get the stance he was making, and in my opinion, they've screwed up with this. And we know the shortage of wingers and stuff we had last year. To me, I think Wonga's going to be underdone. Like he had a broken wrist or broken arm, whatever it was. He's going to be underdone.
Yeah.
Bailey injured his shoulder in the grand final last year, and we heard nothing about it after. They ruled him out of the World Cup, though, didn't it? Wasn't he meant to be in the New Zealand squad? So how good's he going to be? We've got Hayes Dunster coming back from, the most serious knee injury you can do, taking out everything, as he did. I don't get why we wouldn't want to have as many fit players as we can, and obviously we've had injuries as well throughout the trial.
When they interviewed BA at that trial match and we had 9 players out, he only said 2 of them was cleared for round 1, and now all 4 of them are back. I'm pretty sure he only said Givo and Bailey were clear, or Wonga was clear, and then the others have creeped back into the team. So I don't
see. Again, why do you need to tell everyone that information? Why can't you just?
Yeah.
Well, why do you have to tell the media all that information and tell everyone that information? Keep it close to yourself,
Yeah, and that's
Sivo hasn't played since last year, grand final. World Cup. Yeah,
World Cup.
So but no one's saying, the fans aren't saying, "Oh, why is Sivo there?" And
it's a big difference too. Like, obviously, I don't know. I always thought that Dunster would. I'm a big Dunster fan. I think he's on some good things, but I knew he'd always get that game in New South Wales Cup. But a bloke's had 12 months out of footy. He's going to be roaring to go. I just don't get why he put potentially underdone players in and not want to have his strongest team there. I know comps aren't won in March, but foundations are obviously set up to win competitions.
But this is us, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on.
Let's have flashbacks to last year where we had 6 wingers go down in the first 3 weeks.
Exactly right, and that's the point I'm getting at. So what happens in this game? Obviously Russell's going to lose a couple of players, and Hayes doesn't go well in New South Wales Cup. You're all of a sudden bringing underdone players that haven't played first grade football.
Well, that's the thing. He could have named them. He could bring Lumi up last minute and Wonga not even play.
God, if they bring Lumi up, Melbourne will tear us to pieces because they're going to know exactly how to expose him. But it needs a lot of work.
He should know Melbourne's secrets.
Yeah, but Melbourne knows his defense. That's why he's not at Melbourne anymore.
It was just going to work out really well for them after that trial I watched. He was great with the ball. He made a lot of runs out of trouble and obviously knows how to score a try, but he needs some defensive work, like Sivo did when he first came in. So anyway, let's go through the Melbourne team quickly. I'm not going to share it because I don't care that much. But Nick Meaney at fullback, Will Warwick, who I don't even know who that is, but
he's a big winger.
Big winger, okay.
Big winger for Melbourne. He was pretty impressive in the trial.
I can tell in the number 2 he's a winger. And Remus Smith, young tournament Peter, Xavier
could be a centre playing wing.
He could be, yeah. You're right, he could be, yeah. Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes, Nelson the Cat, Harry Grant, Christian Wells returning from an injury, point proven. Trent Lyro, Elise Katoa, Josh King, Tyron Wishart, Alec McDonald, Chris Lewis, and Jordan Grant. I'm not going to go through it. So I rest my case. It is the weakest Melbourne team I have seen in a long time. They've got injuries. They've got players obviously moved on. But you can never count Melbourne out. We know that. They've been meant to drop for years. They're meant to drop when Smith retired, when Cronk left, when Slater retired. It was all meant to happen. It hasn't happened. So I feel like this is a year, and God, I hope so. I'll bring up the New South Wales Cup team list and I'll share it across.
I think Troy's fallen asleep, has it? Oh, there he is. There he is.
Sorry, I'm just in a ranting mood. I'm really.
I'm more worried. I'm worried about Wedemu off the bench with his fitness. I don't know.
I'm not, because he looks fit and he's ready. Like, he needs to take his...
Yeah, 100%. But watching him be puffed out after 2 hit-ups that he couldn't get back into.
Yeah, well, he obviously is going to be easy in. Look, I'm going to attempt to do this screen share again. I'm going to do it right this time. Don't put it up, Matt, until I say, because, you don't want that. Are you right, Troy? You dying there?
Yeah, mate, I'm all good.
The black fume's getting to you.
I'm all good.
Not yet, Matt. Not yet. All right. Go ahead. Hang on. Yep, you good?
Very
Hang on, I haven't got it right.
No.
Sorry, viewers.
There we go.
I'll get it in a second.
There we go.
All right, let's go through the New South Wales Cup list. Jordan Rankin at fullback. Probably a good move getting him out the halves. Hayes Dunster and Matthew Cummer. I think his name. On the wing. Isaac Limu and Zach Cheney in the centres. Brendan Hands at 5'8", which is once again quite interesting. Jake Arthur at halfback. Ogden at the front row. Kai Rodwell, disappointingly in reserve grade at number 10. Jaden Yates at hooker, which we'll get to. Tony Matelli, Lucas Moretti, and no number 13 named, which is really interesting. Nathan Brown, potentially, or not Nathan Brown, who knows?
Brownie's supposedly out injured.
Yeah, I don't know who the 13 is going to be.
Again, that's what the media is reporting. So
number 13.
That one for sure. Right. So maybe one of the
TBA.
Mitch Rain, Tavita Tamapuni, Nico Apello, and Samuel Lizo. All right. That's obviously the reserve grade team. They play at Kellyville at 1 o'clock on Saturday against the Canberra Raiders. You can see the Canberra Raiders team there to the right. It's obviously quite a strong team with some experience there. I'll stop sharing and I'll go back now. My interesting thoughts about the New South Wales Cup team, and this isn't one thing that really jumped to my attention, is you look at their
number 17.
Hey,
number 17.
Well, there's a couple. Yeah, he was obviously be rumoured to one coming in potentially at first grade, but two. You look at our extended bench, and we've got Mitch Rain named on an extended bench for first grade. Yet Jaden Yates, who by all reports has absolutely killed it in,
the trials and
talking could be a good 14 for us. He's starting hooker. So for me, that's an interesting choice as well. I'm all about interesting choices round one because we don't have much else to talk about. Obviously, Lumi playing the centres when Dunster was rumoured to be a potential centre in first grade.
But Lazalo or whatever, he's a centre named on the bench, and Lumi's at centre. So is there a bit of smoke and mirrors? Maybe Lumi slides into potentially one of the wing spots on first grade last minute, and then Lazalo goes into centre, or I don't know. Just we got bloody John Cena playing 13.
Right, they've got John Cena playing 10, so that's okay.
Yeah,
It's the silly season. It's round one. No one knows what's going on, baby. But like I said, if you're a chance to get the Kelly, go out and catch a reserve grade things. It'd be good. Look, I'm looking forward to Hayes' return, obviously. So I rate him. Cheney, who obviously hasn't really, we don't know if he's been upgraded. We don't know what's going on there. There's a rumor floating around he could have played this week, but named at centre. To me, the worrying sign there is our centre depth. It's a position we've always seemed to struggle with. And I obviously know Bailey can move. They've got some wingers, but I'm a little bit worried about our centre depth in that reserve grade team. You think Cheney's the first one called up, but I don't get it.
I like the Hands at 5'8", Core.
Yeah.
I feel like
He's got good hands at 5'8", yeah.
Penrith's still spewing. They let him go.
Yeah, well, he hasn't done much. You know, like he's been rumored.
He hasn't had a shot.
You're right. He hasn't had a shot, and he's been rumored as a 14 as well. But I don't think Brad really likes to play at 14. That's the thing. So, let's get on to our predictions, and I have given this no thought whatsoever.
Yeah, I haven't.
So, Matty, have you got the tally board up and running for this year?
Yes, I've got a spreadsheet set up with all our spreadsheet scoreboard.
So with the score predictions, are you doing like a for and against for the score predictions?
For and against, yes. That's
for the against.
No, you're right.
He's clutching at straws, I think.
Troy won it last year, so he wants it. He wants it bad.
Yeah, he wants to go back to
back. I agree with that, though. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just
all right, yeah, I can do that.
It's not going to be a for and against. It's always going to be a negative. Like, whatever your difference is, you just minus that off 0. So we're always going to have to be negative. Really, like, you know, if I say Parramatta win 30-16 and the score's 38 and I'm still 2 off, so I'm -2. So I agree with that, Troy. You happy with that?
Yeah, sounds.
We're giving this a lot of thought, guys. This is on our meeting. All right, I'm going to go first. What do we do again? We do a first try scorer.
First try scorer, score prediction, and bold prediction.
Right. My first try scorer is going to be Pete Gutherson. I feel like someone said, I think Hayden said Guthrie get a few tries here. That's my prediction. It's a nice little easy one, a bit of inside support play, maybe off a Mitch or Dylan break. My try.
Or a car break.
My score prediction is 30-16, as I spoiled. 30-16, obviously in favour of Parramatta. And my bold prediction is a Mitchell Moses try into 2 assists into Cameron Munster to spend 10 minutes in the single.
Ooh, so what was it? Mitch,
a try into 2+ try assists. And Cameron Munster to send 10 in the win. All right, Troy. Fire it away.
Well, I'll if you want, I'll just read out Hayden's predictions.
I've got it. I haven't been a cleaner show without him. I forgot he existed.
See as though he's not here. So Hayden has gone Eels to win 26-12. His first try scorer is Junior Paolo. So whether that's a barge,
hang on. You guys keep going. I'm going to look up what that is.
And his bold prediction is Mitchell Moses to poll 2+ Dally M points.
Okay. Well,
so does that mean that Mitch scores 3 Dally M points?
2+, yeah.
Or 2 or 3 points. I'm not too sure.
2 or 3.
We'll give him credit. 2 and above.
2 or 3.
Look, the first try scorer of Junior Paulo is paying $71.
51?
71.
71.
71, yeah. Reg is 61. So, Hayden, I hope you put your money where your mouth is if that happens. So.
Yeah. So, alrighty, here we go. First one of the year. I'm going to go Parramatta 24, Melbourne 18. And first try scorer. Look, I can't go past Will Penasini. I'm going to stick with Will.
I'll just freeze that on the screen the whole year. I won't need to edit.
Yeah, that could be. You won't need to edit that. No.
Until the 1 week he doesn't go and where he actually scores the first try.
Absolutely. And bold prediction. Bold prediction will be Brad Arthur will use all his 4 replacements.
Oh.
We've named 4 forwards, so he has to.
Yeah, but we have seen him name 4 forwards before, and
yeah, he does some weird things that like, doesn't he?
But bold prediction, and they'll get probably more than, or one of them will get more than 5 minutes as well, or 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks for
that's all I can come up with. I'll be more.
We're a bit rusty episode 1, guys.
Yeah. Come back.
It'll get better.
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
don't get cut off by the network next week. All right, Matt, what do you got?
All right, so I was going to go higher, but I decided to go 36-16.
Oh, I thought you were going to go 14.
No, I almost went 36-6, but
We're going to be leading by
36-16.
12 at half time, boy. Mm.
I got Wanga, first try scorer. And my bold prediction, wait for it, Adam. Bryce Cartwright for 2 try assists.
Are they going to be normal try assists or just like flick
I don't
past
know.
try
Maybe he
assists?
just makes a break and just passes it to a winger.
Okay, if that happens, I'll do next week's episode in my budget, my promoted budget, all right?
There you
But
go,
see,
folks. You heard it here.
Another good point about this game is there's players that are named that didn't even play in the trials. So what does
Well,
Melbourne know
Cartwright
about
had a
these
broken
players?
jaw, and we thought he was out for a while. So
Yeah, exactly. They might be fully fit, ready to go, and they haven't played any games. Melbourne
well, they might not
haven't
be
seen
as well.
any. Well, they might not be, but Melbourne haven't seen any vision of them or nothing. So
Well, they know what Cartwright's going to do. 6 errors and 20 flick passes. All right, that's all we've got time for. Episode 1. So we'll clear the cobwebs for next week. Try and get special guests on, so we've got 4 people, so we don't have to talk as much. I don't have to go on as many rants. But hopefully see everyone out there at Combank Stadium. I won't say Bank West, but Combank Stadium there on Thursday night. Get a massive crowd and get the boys home and break the streak.
don't forget, also listeners and viewers, subscribe to the YouTube channel and also Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the Talking Parra podcast. Subscribe, and that way you'll get your podcast downloaded straight away when it comes. And then, yeah, we want more subscribers on both the visual and the audio as well.
Sounds good.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much. Go Parra.
And don't forget, prize giveaways coming soon, guys.